I didn't expect to get laid off in Germany, but here's what happened. Today we're going to get up close and personal. I'm going to tell it all, how it happened, when it happened, the emotional turmoil, the stress, the fear, frustration, job hunting, and everything in between, bureaucracy, and how it all went down. My name is Tiki Luisa. I'm a pharmacist. I studied here in Germany, and I had been working in a retail pharmacy for a while after my study, 6 months thereabout, when I found the job of which I'm talking about at the moment. It was in the pharma industry in a renowned company. So I grabbed the opportunity and I went for it. It was good. I loved it. 9 to 5 in an office, and I got to learn a lot about project management and all what's in between, communication and everything. So after the 3 years mark, though, I started feeling frustrated because I felt like I had reached a growth ceiling. I couldn't get past a certain point, and I really wanted to grow in my career. My goal had always been to grow in my career. So October of 2024, I wrote a diary entry. I'm going to put it up here, that I would love to work in a dream job, that I would be done working with the present job I had, and I would be working in my dream job very soon. And at the end of October, there had been already rumors about how people were being laid off in the company. However, I was a pharmacist. I am a pharmacist, a project manager. So I wasn't thinking that I was going to get laid off, honestly. Moreover, when I was getting the job, initially during the interview phase, my hiring manager, had told me they need someone, and they don't want someone who is going to step in and have to leave after 2 years. I had taken his word for it. I trusted him, and I knew my job was somehow safe. So I didn't really think about it. But come November, we all received an email saying we had to have like a meeting. And it was like, okay, what's the meeting about? And when we went for the meeting, they said they want to inform us that there is a Thrive League program going on, and anyone who was willing to take part in it could indicate. I didn't think much of it because I wasn't like expecting to leave my job. Though I wanted to leave and find something better, I wanted to do so on my own terms. I wanted to find a soft landing spot and then file in my resignation and everything. So when this happened, I didn't think much of it, as I said. But the meeting was held on Friday. Come Monday, we had our normal rounds, and everybody was like talking in the back office. I had home office on that day. We're talking, trying to like speculate on what was going on and how it's going to go down. And after the weekly rounds of meeting, like the Monday meeting, I went to do something for breakfast. And when I came back, it's like I had gotten a call, so I called back my hiring manager. And when I called them back, the news came that I was one of the lucky few who had been considered for the layoff. My heart sunk. Honestly, my heart sunk. It was like, I knew this day could come, like when I have to leave this job, but I wasn't thinking it was going to be this soon and this way. And then there was, immediately after that, a split second, I had some relief. Like, at least I'm not the one who's going to have to do the dirty job of breaking my words. Because as I said when I got into the job, the hiring manager had been like, oh, we need someone who is going to be here for more than 2 years. We don't want anybody who's going to just step in and step out. All that in and out is not what we're looking for. So there was some sort of relief of the fact that I didn't have to do the dirty job, but I won't lie, my heart sunk. And it was like, okay, how to go about this? Immediately after that meeting, several other things happened. They told me I was supposed to talk with the Betriebsrat, which is like the workers' union and I was supposed to like get advice from them. Now they also offered the possibility of me transferring internally to maybe another section of the company in another Bundesland. But honestly speaking, my desire was not to move states just because I was in the fear of losing my job to go do something which I wasn't passionate about. So I was like, nah, that doesn't speak to me. And then the jobs which were left in my company were things which were below my qualification or not in my field of interest. So it was like, okay, what do? I went to work, and I went to the Betriebsrat and I asked them about the options, and they were like, well, you could deny, in which case we might have to like sack you officially, and that could maybe lead in a legal battle, because in Germany you're not supposed to just lose your job anyhow. Secondly, you could decide you want to transfer internally, and thirdly, you could just take the offer. You know, they say it's Freiwillige program, but I tell you, that's a political way of putting things, because there is no Freiwillig in it. It's not like you're freely going into it. You being offered certain options, and for me, it was like I can't stay and act like I don't know what's going on. I don't want to work in a hostile environment. I don't want to work in a place where I've already been blacklisted to be laid off. Secondly, as I said, I wasn't going to transfer internally to go do something simply because. And the third option now was obviously the only one left, having to take the offer. That's where it all started. They started putting pressure on me, like the HR, sorry. HR started putting pressure on me. They were like, they've just, I wrote them a message. I was like, okay, I'm thinking of accepting the offer. And HR started putting pressure on me. They were like, okay, if you're thinking of accepting the offer, then here's a draft, and we want you to quit ASAP. And when we were talking of me quitting ASAP, it was like, as I said, the meeting we had was like 4th of November, and they were wanting me to quit around the 11th of November. So suddenly, overnight, everything had changed. I wasn't sure, I wasn't safe, I wasn't secure, I wasn't feeling like a valued employee anymore. And they were like, we want you to take this offer by the 11th of November. And I just had to file in crank, because I didn't know what to think. I needed time to think. I needed to make an informed decision. And that's the one thing I found kind of funny in everything that was going on. So I was sick for a while. Basically, I was stressed. I took a sick leave, and I thought about the whole situation. So HR was ready to offer me the contract, and I'm going to talk more about certain things like the Aufhebungsvertrag and what to expect in another video. I'm going to get into the details of it. So what happened next was, after taking my sick leave, I came back to work, and honestly, I was really stressed and I wasn't feeling safe anymore. But the good thing is my work bestie was behind me, and she was like, oh, don't take the offer, make sure you get legal advice. Now, in order to cope in this situation, I had to inform myself. And I think information is power or key, and that's the reason why I'm making this video. I actually went to the Betriebsrat. I asked a friend of mine, a co-worker of mine who had also been laid off some years back in her job, what to expect, because they were offering me obviously an Abfindung, which is like some compensation. And normally the law says that the Abfindung is supposed to be 0.5 times the number of years you've worked in the company. So I was talking with this friend to know, or this co-worker, to know what she thinks about it, because since I had already made up my mind that I was going to take the offer, the only sensible thing to do was to make the most out of it, because I didn't know for how long I was going to be jobless, and I needed to be able to secure myself financially in one way or the other. I talked to my colleague, and she said I shouldn't bother about trying to get anything more out of the situation. And normally when you talk of 0.5 times the number of years you've been working, it shouldn't be bad if you've been working for a very long time. But mind you, I've been working in this company for 3 years plus. So 3 years plus 0.5 times your salary per month, wasn't so much. So when she said I shouldn't bother, I wasn't satisfied. Something in me told me to press for more. And as I said, my work bestie was always there, and she was like, no, try to get the legal counsel you need and press for more. I talked to my brother because my brother is here in Germany. He was also like, no, just bow out gracefully. You don't want to like create um any negative energy when you're leaving them. Maybe you're going to see them some other time while in your work life. And for me, it was like, I don't think I'm getting back to this company. And it's not like I'm even trying to create drama. I'm just trying to secure myself financially. I talked to a family friend of mine as well, who has been in Germany for a long time, and she too was like, "Nah, it's lohnt sich nicht and everything. Just take what they're giving you and leave." But in the process of trying to like inform myself, I came to YouTube, and that's one of the reasons why I love YouTube so much, and one of the reasons why I even make YouTube videos, because I found so many helpful things on YouTube. I came to YouTube, and on YouTube I found that there were some lawyers who were giving like a little advice on such situations, and they said you could write them if in case you found yourself in any of such situations. So what did I do? Well, I wrote them. And I told them, this is what's happening, this is what my company is offering me, and honestly, I don't want to stay for so and so reason. So if you could help me handle the case, then yeah, negotiate for me, because I wanted to negotiate to get better out of the situation, but I wasn't going to one man against the whole company. That wasn't going to fly. So I handed over everything to them, and HR was still pressing, as I said, during this period, saying that I should accept the contract. I have a timeline till the 25th of November to accept this contract, and after the 25th of November, there's not going to be that offer on the table anymore to give me the compensation which they were promising. So that's some sort of blackmail. I'm not going to talk about all these things in the other video about Abfindung and everything you can expect in between. So my lawyers contacted my hiring manager, and guess what? The mail went under. He didn't contact my lawyer. So I'd been waiting to hear from my hiring manager, and there was nothing. So after a while, I went to my hiring manager. I was like, what happened? Have you seen my mail from my lawyer? And he was like, nah. So okay. Um he decided to check his mails. He found the mail from my lawyer. He sent it over to HR, and then HR and my lawyer did the talking after that. And honestly speaking, I think taking a lawyer was one of the best decisions ever, because it just saved me from all the mental math which I would have been doing. And it also helps me to have no bad blood with anybody. When the lawyer and the HR were done and their contract was revised, my hiring manager finally got to see me, or I got to see my hiring manager, and when I was dropping off everything, and he was like, good on you, good thing you took a lawyer. It's funny how when I was about to take a lawyer, nobody was really like for it. And even when everything was happening, I could hardly even get to talk with my hiring manager, because he found himself in a tight spot. Also, he made it look like. And when everything was done and the lawyers had concluded everything, he was like, I'm happy you had a better deal out of everything. Now, one thing I learned from everything which transpired is I'm supposed to be transactional when it comes to my jobs. Because truth is, when I was getting into the job and my hiring manager said, we want somebody who is going to be here and not in and out, I took him for his word. I was thinking, this layoff had started like beginning of 2024. People are losing their jobs in the company, and to a certain extent I was kind of like a bit anxious, but somehow, because during my interview he had made a statement, I had some sort of assurance, false assurance, that I was going to maintain my job despite all odds. So in this layoff period, is like 50 people lost their job. So I wasn't the only person who lost my job. 50 people lost their job. And it's rather unfortunate that during the period or after the period, the job market in Germany has not been the best. So I kept applying. Like, I applied for jobs immediately after I got laid off. And at some point, in order to cope as well, I took holiday. I went back home just to free my head, just to be near mom and dad, get that home comfort. And when I was done with my holidays, I came back and I resumed with the applications. I have applied to so many jobs. I've been through so many interviews, and somehow I usually make it to maybe either the first or the second stage of the interview, but never to third stage. The pharma industry, or the market of the pharma industry at the moment, is a bit shaky, um, due to the political atmosphere of the moment, or the economic atmosphere as well. I hear a lot of pharma industries are trying to like outsource their productions to other countries which are like cheaper, or outsource work generally to other countries which are like cheaper. At some point, I actually got a job offer from a startup pharma company, but the contract and the terms on the contract were not favorable for me. And that's one thing too. If you're an immigrant and you're looking for a job, please take time to read your contract, especially the fine prints. So the contract was not favorable, and it was a startup company, and I would have had to move. So I said no to that. I also had some other offers from other like areas where I thought were not my dream. I got turned down for one job because I was overqualified. However, I'm still in the process and I haven't lost hope. I'm coming here to share this because you never know when you're going to need, you never know if it's going to happen to you. As I said, I didn't expect to lose my job in Germany. That was the last thing ever on my mind. So I'm talking about this openly and transparently, so that if there's anybody who ever wants help, if anybody ever finds themselves in such a situation, then they could have this as a point of reference. They should know they are not at fault in any way, shape, or form, and they should know how to defend themselves if in case they find themselves in such situations. It's been months now. We're in June, entering into July. I still haven't gotten a job in the pharma industry. However, it's my prayer, it's my dream. Just to not stay idle, I'm back at the pharmacy. I'm going to be making another video too about pharmacy versus 9 to 5, what I think about it. So yeah, that's been that. When I created these segments of Tea Time with Tea, I wanted to be able to interview people who have kind of like found their own part here in Germany. I wanted to share inspiring stories. I know this story is not yet over, but I think it's worth sharing. And I'll keep sharing other things which might not just inspire but inform you in this segment of Tea Time with Tea. Charity, they say, begins at home. So it's not fair that I am the first person sharing my own story in this section of Tea Time with Tea. So that's the tea on my life. I've been jobless for the past months, but I'm back, though I'm not where I want to be. And that's part of the reason why it was also hard for me to make the videos. Sometimes you have plans, but life has its own plans. So yeah, I'm back, however, and I'm hoping to remain resilient and to be back here with you often. Gosh, the summer is hot this year, and in Frankfurt it's really, really, really hot. This week is going to be terrible. How's it over where you are right now? So that's the end of the story for now. As I said, I'll be making another video talking about what to expect if you find yourself in a situation with this Freiwillige program, how to go about it, if it makes sense, and the best steps to take. I hope you were able to enjoy the story. I hope this could inspire someone. It's not the end of the road, it's the beginning of a new journey for me. See you next time with Tea Time.